Hi, I was about to... The heck? To open the episode. They moved. I swear it. Go back to 0 seconds. The portals moved. When I... What the heck? I swear the portals moved. That's why I activated the recording. It's just... Why did these points just move? This is disturbing as heck. Now it's gone. Of course it doesn't work. Okay, so we're going back to the Nexus. Okay, so where are we right now? Okay, so we are in the Flesh Markets, Battle Bliss, Bad Luck Nexus. Okay. Sudden searing pain forces you to your knees. For a moment you'll feel as though you are in a frying pan. Your skin is on fire and the agony is unbearable. The world goes dim around you and you find yourself unable to breathe. As you fade in and out of consciousness, you'll hear the angel Targona screaming in pain somewhere nearby.
Oxy! Yes!
Then the pain stops. The hand of the inheritor is standing over you. His hands glow with healing light. My righteous comrades, what happened? I felt no evil spell, but both of you suddenly screamed in agony. I don't know, Targona whispers. I suddenly felt like I was burning. I was bound hand and foot, unable to defend myself, and I was burning. Wait, don't heal me yet, Hand of the Inheritor. I need answers. I want to study these invisible burns. But could it have been a curse? A spell? I didn't sense anything. I still don't, but we are in the abyss. Many things are possible here. I just hope it doesn't happen again. Well, if it does, perhaps we can better understand the nature of your affliction. However, we have much to discuss. Let's put the matter of this mysterious ailment aside for now. How are we going to find the Echo of Discovery? Our mission is to eliminate the threat of the Nahindrian crystals. That should remain our priority, but we cannot ignore the Echo. Our insidious enemy knows that you are the Abyss Champion, and it is clear that he plans to kill you. Moreover, there is still the matter of the hostage that he took from Pelura's Fall. I know how the Echo of Discovery thinks. I'm certain that his lair is not in Alushinira. I believe he holds his captives in the Rasping Rifts, his lord's realm. However, as I've mentioned before, he must have a portal hidden somewhere here in the city. It wouldn't surprise me if the portal is sealed or guarded, but we must still try to find it. I can help with that. Let Mograine focus on his mission, and I will search for the portal. You can't go to the City of Demons alone, sister. Your maimed wing may deceive some of the demons into believing you're a fallen angel, but they will not all be fooled. That is why the champion and I ought to help you. I will not keep us from fulfilling our primary mission. Very well, I'll follow your lead, but first I need to follow up on a hunch. I'll be near the portal that leads from the Nexus to Alushinira. Meet me there. So what we do now? The Echo does not work alone. He has numerous spies and contacts among the demons involved with the World Wound. If we can track down one of the Echo's allies, they might lead us straight to him. We could search for the Echo of Discovery's henchmen here in Alushinira, but it'd be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Fortune may favor us, but we'd be trusting everything to chance. A more reliable method would be to turn to the rulers of the city, evil city, for assistance. After all, we are going to need their help in other matters as well. The Hand of the Inheritor sounds glum. There is one tried and true method of hunting demons. Make them hunt you instead. The Echo hates everything and everyone related to Yomide. If I walk into Alushinira and start killing demons and praising the goddess, he is bound to send some of his servants after me. You'll end up with half of the Abyss chasing after you. Maybe. The old paladin chuckles, but you can hear the determination in his voice. Don't underestimate me, though. I'm not going to sit here and do nothing. All my life I've been good at two things, killing demons and staying alive, and that's exactly what I plan to do now. It's too I mean, he's old, He knows what he's doing. And we are in no position to deny him this quest to save life. Fine, you can go. Excellent. If you need me, just listen for the sound of prayers and battle cries. I doubt they'll be hard to find. I have to go. My friend, it has been so long since we last spent time together. Wouldn't you agree? We haven't even gone for a stroll. I've missed your company. Camelia's eyes have an unnatural sheen to them, and her shallow breast emerge from her throat in a feverish staccato. Are you all right? Yes, no. Camelia wets her lips and harshly exhales. I'm quite well, but there's a way to improve my well-being 100-fold. All right, hint taken. Where do you want to go together? I'm pleased you understand me. No one better understands me than you. Camelia bares her teeth in a predatory smile. I would like to suggest a little adventure. Take me to the brothel. Are you serious? Have I ever given you cause to doubt my seriousness? Camelia raises an eyebrow. My request is not as simple as it may first appear. A faraway look appears in her eyes. Mireia is demanding blood. Her whispers are growing even more insistent, becoming overwhelming. Muddling my thoughts, stopping me from thinking about anything else. We need to help her, Morgraine, and I know how. In the 10,000 Delights there is a special service. It is only offered to those who already know of its existence. Deep below the brothel, there is a place where there are no limits. Do you understand? Camelia wets her dry lips. What's more, this service entails making a pleasure slave of the person your heart desires above all others. I would like to seize this opportunity. You're very well informed about the brothel secrets. How did you learn about them? Let's just say I made inquiries. All we do here is fight and kill. Isn't that enough blood for Mireia already? Camelia sighs and begins to explain, like she's explaining a simple truth to a child. To feed Mireia blood, I must perform a particular ritual. Select a victim, cut him open from neck to navel, and wait for the life to leave his body. Then I lower Mireia's amulet into the still warm flesh, and then I take a piece of that flesh inside myself. What the fuck? You already know how it works. You forbade me from killing your subjects in Dresden. But here in the Abyss it's an entirely different matter. We're not even in your lands any longer. What difference does the death of one unknown pleasure slave make, when the fate of all Golarion might depend on that death? Hold on. Shouldn't Mireia be the one to select the victim? In the brothel, she'll just have to accept whoever we're given. And anyway, why does the spirit from Golarion need the blood of someone in the Abyss? Camilla's answer does not come immediately. You see, Morgraine, the Abyss has completely addled my little Mireia's mind. Now she simply craves blood. Any blood. So she is a murderess. There is no Mireia. From whatever source, even from someone not of Golarion. I mean, she's a serial killer. Probably. We still don't know for certainty, but the hints are there. The brothel promises to turn the slave into whomever we wish. We shall do this and offer Mireia a choice. I don't like your tone, Camelia. Forgive me, my friend. Only it seemed that my request was quite easy to understand, but you forgive me. Alright, I'll go with you to the 10,000 Delights. Camelia's mouth broadens in a happy smile. Ah, my friend, I'm ever so pleased to hear that. I knew I could rely on you. Oh dear. Sure, that one will turn out. Yaniel has not forgotten her days as a soldier. Despite her age and the terrible years of imprisonment, she has not lost her military bearing. She greets you with a slight nod. Tell me about yourself, Yaniel. Ah, now I can finally set things straight. It sounds like they've made up quite a few ridiculous stories about me and Mendev. Well, despite what you've heard, I wasn't a perfect paladin. I was born in Mendev, before the wound was opened. I remember the sadness and confusion caused by Arodin's death. In my town, the priests wouldn't close down the temple, and he refused to turn it over to Eomide. Delegations were sent to the priest to explain what had happened. They tried to convince him of Arodin's death, but he never believed them. He continued to preside over what was probably Arodin's last surviving temple. He was certain his god was still alive, and he grew old, still hoping for Odin's return. I remember looking at him and thinking, what would it be like to be a living relic? Memory of a long-forgotten past. I suppose it's rather ironic that I've turned out to be something of a living relic myself. But it was that priest who inspired me to become a crusader. Those were the early days of the crusade. Now you call it the First Crusade, but at the time it was just the crusade. That's relatively important. People in the First World War, when the World War started, they didn't think about it as the first. It was just the World War, the war to end all wars, they called it. There is a very well done scene in Doctor Who, where the Doctor tells an officer of the First World War about the Second World War, and then it's like, oops, spoiler. In that scene was dark. But yeah, people didn't believe back then that there would be a Second World War. But then again, if you think about the fact that after the First World War ended, and the Treaty of Versailles was made, and 100% of the fault of the war was, of course, bullshitly placed on Germany's shoulders. It was just convenient. Germany lost, so everyone could say, it's Germany's fault, not ours, not even in the slightest. That was prone to lead to conflict. I mean, everything was taken away from the Germans. Not only economy, military, social status, everything. They were pushed down to the ground and nobody gave a shit. Of course that led to extremists deceiving masses like Hitler. If not for the Treaty of Versailles, if the Germans would have been in a better position with more wealth, and it's quite unlikely that extremists would have been able to rile up that nation that fast. But then again, that's a what-if scenario, and we would never have known what would have happened. We only know what happened. And a lot of mistakes were made. And then the darkest chapter of humanity maybe, I mean, I don't know all chapters of humanity, but the Second World War and the atrocities committed by Hitler and the Nazis was definitely one of the darkest chapters in history of humanity. Maybe the darkest chapter, but I don't have enough knowledge to judge that. Where millions of innocent people were brutally butchered. And then Europe ushered in an era of peace and democracy and freedom, and then Putin comes, and he starts to murder innocent people again for no reason, just for the heck of it. It's just, I never thought that it would be possible in my time that maniacal mass murderers, tyrants and dictators would again rise to butcher innocent people, and so many would stand aside. The Russian people support him, India does nothing. If you stand idle in the face of evil, you are partly responsible for what happens. I was almost 20. I suppose I can blame my bad behavior on my youth, and it would be partly true. I caused my commanding officers so much trouble. I argued with them, and I accused my comrades of laziness and dereliction of duty. Things weren't easy back then, and the desire to help and protect, the natural desire of every paladin, often stood in opposition to the need of violence and military efficiency. So in truth, the hero Yaniel wasn't all that heroic. Before I was captured by the demons, I was merely a troublesome soldier. I think I see a similar fire in the eyes of Sealer, your companion. She's brave, and her heart is in the right place, but she's so young. She still has a lot to learn. I want to hear more about your youth. Tell me about your time in the First Crusade. Ah, the rebelliousness of my youth. Yaniel chuckles good-naturedly. Although youth might not be entirely accurate. You see, my greatest act of rebellion actually happened during the 10th or 11th year of my service. I had a public argument with the leaders of the crusade. I told them that I was tired of fighting alongside them. I said they were timid and indecisive. I accused them of turning a blind eye to injustice, among many other things. Anyway, I declared that I'd be better off on my own. Things got pretty heated, and one of the priests shouted that he'd ban me from service. Well, I shouted right back. I told him he didn't have the right. Only Yomide could reject my oath of duty. After that, I took my sword Radiance, gathered up all my belongings, and headed straight to the wound. I was ready to be a hero, all on my own. I was in the world wound for 2 years. Everyone thought I was dead. I strayed far, even farther, in the cursed city of Iz. I managed to free a lot of prisoners who were being held captive by the demons and cultists. But then I was faced with a new challenge. I had to get them home. And that's when I started to finally understand my commanding officers. When I was by myself, I could be reckless. I could throw myself into the fray, but when I was forced to look out for others, things became more complicated. Suddenly every decision mattered. I was responsible for the lives of these prisoners. Many of them were crusaders, and quite a few of them were reckless hotheads, like myself. It was a long, exhausting journey. It pushed me to my limits, and I came very close to breaking my vows, but I made it. I kept everyone alive. I managed to get them all safely to the gates of Dresden, and the welcome we received, I suppose our triumphant return is what started that whole myth about Yaniel the saintly hero. The woman chuckles in amusement. But do you know who came to greet me? Do you know who welcomed me home? The 2 people I argued with before my departure, my commanding officer and the priest. We nearly fell into each other's arms, and there were so many apologies on all sides. That priest's name was Antoclitus, and he later became one of the patriarchs of the Church of Iomide. The name of my commanding officer was Staunton Vane. What? Staunton fucking Vane? Traitor's son of a gun. Why did you choose to follow me into the abyss? We barely know each other. Well, I suppose the obvious answer is that I wanted to help you. After all, you saved me from endless imprisonment, but there's more to it than that. After the events in the Midnight Fane, the Queen announced that you had departed on a highly sensitive mission. Everyone was excited about the commander, but no one cared much about a strange old woman. Even if she did share the name of a legendary hero. Yaniel shrugs slightly as if she's still somewhat puzzled by her status as a legendary hero. Speaking of names, I've actually met 2 of my namesakes. Apparently it's become rather common to name children after them. Or after me, but I digress. While all this was going on, I tried to find out what happened to my friends and quickly discovered that I was alone. Denisa, my best friend, died of old age just a year ago. The priest Antoclitus became a respected patriarch, but age did not spare his mind. He is in his final days, being cared for by his family. Drawn and Staunton, well, you know their story. And that's how it was with everyone I once knew. Everything has changed. The city, the people, the crusades. I heard no familiar names and met no familiar faces. Only the queen remained the same, my proud, brave queen, but time had changed her too. A dark storm raged in her eyes, a storm brought on by doubt or weariness. When the crusades first began, she bore the weight of the war on her shoulders. Suddenly she was responsible not only for the kingdom, but for the entire world. She had a duty to turn back the tide of the abyss, yet even then I do not remember her being so broken. Long story short, I felt lost in Dresden, and a lost paladin seeks salvation in prayer. I went to a temple of Iomide, and there I met an angel who was just as lost, Targona. From the moment we locked eyes, I knew that we were kindred spirits. I learned a lot from Targona. She told me about the new powers of the Holy Wardens. She spoke about the Echo of Tiscari and the Hand of the Inheritor, and then she talked about you. She told me that she was going to follow you into the abyss. I could think of no reason to stay in Dresden, and I certainly wasn't going to live out my old age in some distant, peaceful land. My crusade. Old warrior pauses, then finishes resolutely. Is not over yet. Tell me again, how did you end up in the Midnight Fane? I was captured on the day that Dresden fell, but I've changed captors twice. First, the traitor Arelu Wallish kept me in a laboratory where she healed me, after a fashion. And she gave me to Minago. It was a subtle mockery, for Minago was to blame for the death of my city, and for the fall of my friend Staunton. Minago set up her lair in the Midnight Fane, and that is where she kept me. She told me that she'd make me her shell. That's how Lilith was to torture mortals and take their appearances as their own. Minago had an entire collection. I even saw the elf woman she used to seduce Staunton. Poor girl. Minago killed her in front of me. I'm bored of this look. That's what she said. She poisoned me with her dark magic and left me to languish in the midnight fane. She stole my appearance and wore my face as a disguise. I can only guess what atrocities she committed in my name. People knew who I was back then. How many of them did she deceive? Did they think that Layania had miraculously returned? The warrior's eyes are as cold as steel. What do you think about the Holy Wardens? Do you also possess these abilities? Yes, I do possess these abilities. I've been thinking a lot about why the Holy Wardens have these powers, and I have a few ideas, though I'm not sure they're worth much. Tragona told me that the Holy Wardens possess the same kind of magic as the Wardstones, but Yaniel shrugs. The Wardstones didn't exist back in my time. The first one was put up in Kinabalis after the fall of Dresden and my imprisonment. So I didn't find out about the Wardstones until after I left the Midnight Fane. I saw one for the first time when I arrived in Dresden with the Queen and her people. This generation of crusaders grew up with the Wardstones, so they take them for granted. They are a normal part of life. For me, they are something new. Maybe that's why I see them differently. Targona said that the strength of these stones come from celestials who devoted themselves to eternal service. She and her brother were supposed to give themselves to the stones as well. That's when I started thinking about the Holy Wardens. Our abilities make us living Wardstones. I wanted to see if I could find a connection. Maybe we all share something in common, something that gives us our abilities. Perhaps it's the result of Alilu's experimentation. Yaniel winces. Please don't mention that witch's name. No, I don't think it has anything to do with her. That traitor didn't create the Wardstones, and as far as I know, our friend Berenguer has never met her. Oh, he's also a living Wardstone. Oh, okay. Here's what I think. There were many worthy men and women among crusaders. Their eyes and hearts burned with holy zeal or zeal, but even among the paladins or angels, there are not many who have had everything taken from them, or who have been taken from everything, like a tree pulled out of the ground, roots and all. And among those who have experimented such loss, a few have chosen to accept that grief as a duty, a weight that they must carry. You see, we are like the angels who chose to lock themselves in the Wardstones, and that makes us different from demons, because demons are anything but selfless. I think that's why demons are weakened in our presence or near the Wardstones. They can't bear such devoted service. It breaks something in the way their demonic power works. That's why they lose their abilities, why they can't teleport, for example. Learned wizards would probably laugh at my theory, but it's what I honestly believe. Thank you for the conversation. I have to go. My crusade continues. Oh dear. Let's see what the Hand of the Inheritor has to say. I want you to stop offering me advice. What the fuck? No. Here, far from the eyes of strangers, I can assume my true form, but in Aloshinira I will remain hidden. What is our next step? In Aloshinira there is no one as powerful as Shamira, the right hand of Nocticula herself. It is she who rules the city, while her inscrutable mistress is away. As sad as it is for me to admit, we must try to gain her favor if we want Aloshinira to take us seriously. How well known am I among the denizens of Aloshinira? Some demons have heard rumors about you, but no one is paying much heed to those rumors. Tell me honestly, what do you think of the one you call the champion of Golarion? I would be lying if I told you that I don't observe you with some trepidation. Sometimes I wonder what will happen if you falter, for power and responsibility represent the most difficult trial of all, and many righteous souls have failed to pass it. I have a question about our mission. Then ask away. You must have a lot of questions. What can you tell me about the Abyss and the demons in general? Oh, demons. The Hand of the Inheritor speaks slowly and heavily, as if trying to break through some inner resistance. They are the youngest race of the Outer Planes and the wildest in origin. Once, entirely different creatures used to rule the Abyss. Those were Qliploth, the embodiments of chaos. They were much less human-like, but then one entity conjured up the idea that primordial chaos could be mixed with an evil mortal soul, and that is how the first demon was created. No one remembers the name of the creator now, but creation still live and prosper. They overthrew the Qliploth and became the essence, soul of the Abyss, and I honestly cannot say which was worse, before humanity was added to it, or now. It's an interesting concept, this whole human, devil, demon, angel thing in Diablo, the world created by Blizzard. They made a storyline about angel kind having a vote whether or not to obliterate mankind because of its inherent connection to demonkind. And at least in the story as it went, that Blizzard told in Diablo, um, it was a stalemate. Equal number of angels wanted to obliterate mankind, and equal number of angels wanted to save mankind. Which is when Turael, the Archangel of Justice, came and ended the stalemate by casting his voice in favor of humans. The following words: "There is no justice in murder." What do you know about Alushinira? Chaos has many faces. When chaos decided to manifest itself in the form of a city, Alushinira was born. There are places in the abyss that are darker, bloodier, more dangerous and deceiving, but I cannot imagine a place whose significance would eclipse that of Alushinira. When Nocticular built this city, she employed everything of the essence that ever existed in the abyss. Demons of all kinds from every corner of the gloomy plain lived there. And what is more, the Lady in Shadow opened the city gates to visitors from other planes, and strangers swarmed this city. Merchants and travelers, mercenaries and explorers, mages and bards, creatures from all planes, those daring enough to visit the abyss, chose Alushinira as their destination. The city is divided by two sets of walls, between which lie the quarters open to outsiders. One set of walls protects Nocticula's guests from the rabble and the poor, who are desperate enough to violate their ruler's orders for a chance to get a coin or two. The other set of walls protects outsiders from the city's nobility, who can flout Nocticula's recommendations without any reason at all. Merely on a whim. But do not think that there is a single place in Alushinira that is safe, for danger lurks around every corner there. Please tell me more about Nocticular. Ah, the Lady in Shadow, the first of the succubi kin and likely the most dangerous demon to have ever been spawned by the abyss. I cannot tell you much about her, for she cunningly hides in the shadows, eluding the daggers of her foes and the schemes of her rivals. All I know is that she gained power after she overthrew Viriavaxus, who was the Lord of Shadow Demons. She took his powers, his realm, and his subjects, and that merely whetted her appetite. Many demon lords have perished since then, cut down by her treacherous and sudden strikes. With each fallen enemy, her power grew stronger and her glories greater. I cannot tell which of her weapons is more dangerous, her unerring strikes, her seductive charms, her unbridled courage, or her astounding stealth. You must beware of all these dangers. I'd like to know more about Shamira. Shamira the Ardent Dream. This name once rang with purity and glory, but today it is tarnished with shame and treachery. Born in the upper planes, she was granted the high honor of kindling the flame of dreams in mortals, to fan it and protect it from the frigid chills of sorrow and cynicism. Shamira performed her duties faithfully until she made one single mistake. I will spare you the details, but all I will say is that the grandeur of the dream she fostered was equal only to the bloody price of its realization. It was a majestic but somber dream, and Shamira let it come true. Then she fled. Either cowardice or certainty of her rectitude kept her from standing in front of her superiors and answering for her actions. She hid in the abyss where Nocticula, the Lady in Shadow, embraced her ardent light and darkened it with her blackness. Wait. Is she an angel? A few centuries passed and we heard her name again. Oh! Shamira is an angel. A fallen angel. Now she was called the Mistress of Alushinira, Nocticula's loyal companion and favorite. That is how we knew for certain that we were right on that fateful day when we condemned Shamira. Only regret is that we failed to foresee her fall. Damn, born in the upper planes, high on... Damn. But what mistake? Grandeur of the dream, what mistake? Why is it? What is it? What is so dangerous about Hepsamira? She is the worst of all Baphomet's offspring. She gained this grim title in the bloody conflict with her own brothers and sisters, and she brutally wiped out everyone who stood in her way. She did not even show mercy for her own mother and doomed her to a cruel execution. As a reward for her eagerness and loyalty, Baphomet granted her use of his most cherished tool, the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth. However, now an even greater threat has arisen under Hepsamira's rule. Unusually powerful demons, the source of whose strength is unknown and most dangerous to us. The Crusaders have encountered such demons only a scant few times, but should an entire army of such fiends appear, Dresden would fall, Nerosian would fall, then all of Avistan would follow, and even Golarion would not stand a chance against them, putting an end to Hepsamira's machinations. That is our mission. I see you've blessed the rocks of this cavern. Indeed, I have. If even on Golarion the abyss's harmful influence can unsettle mortals and disturb their rest, what then can be said of the abyss itself, the very heart of pain and sin? But worry not, champion. By the power granted to me by Iomide, I have consecrated these dark caves. You can find respite here. Recover your strength, should the need arise. Everything is clear to me now, mighty one. Our mission is extremely important, so I am loath to withhold any information that may help you. We're going to continue asking questions, but that will be an episode that will come after that one. See you.